Why find a barber or a hair salon when you can go all in on one spot? This next guest is changing the way the haircut industry has always been done. They've created an inclusive hair studio in Seattle's Columbia City neighborhood that truly does it all. Owner and barber at Hatch Hair and Company, Mickelle Yeates, joins me now. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we also have Savannah, we should say, model,
Yes.
also works at Hatch. Tell me about Hatch and how it got its name.
So the name actually comes from my great-grandparents who were barber and a stylist in central Utah. They had a barber shop called Hatch Barber in middle of nowhere, and hairstyling has been in my blood. So decided to name the whole shop after them and kind of bring the two together.
Perfect. And why did you decide specifically inclusive hair studio?
Mostly because I have a lot of clients that are queer, non-binary, and weren't necessarily fitting into the traditional barbershop and salon spaces. You know, not all trans women can go to a salon and feel comfortable, and not all people that are, you know, AFAB or want short haircuts feel comfortable going into a traditional barbershop. So as I was looking for places that I wanted to work and like grow my career, it didn't really exist within the neighborhood that I wanted it to. So I decided to create it myself.
There you go. Let the dream happen that
Absolutely.
way. You're going to actually show a demo today, right? Like of a haircut. What are you going to demonstrate today?
We're just going to take a little bit of weight out, do a little shape shifting. I think that's the majority of these modern mullets these days, is when they grow out, they get really heavy right here through the corners. So we'll clean up just a little bit through here, take some weight out here to give it a little bit more of a square masculine shape rather than the roundness that happens as it grows out and gets poofy.
I love that these like modern mullets are here to stay. So I'll let you get to work and kind of walk us through the process when someone comes in and what you're doing.
Absolutely. The majority of the haircuts that I do these days are these modern mullets, and a lot of it is just maintaining the shape so that people can like sleep with it, have a little bit of bedhead, messy hair, and still feel comfortable when they wake up. They can tousle it, not have to put too much product into it.
Yeah. So Savannah, do you have a lot of product in your hair day to day, or?
I try to. I have to show up for my clients, you know.
True.
But today I only put a little bit because I knew we were doing this.
Okay.
Which is
and
always
it
appreciated.
looked amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. I know, I guess that would be, do you want clean hair when people come in to get their hair cut or like colored, or I've always wanted to know.
Traditionally, yeah. I mean, if it's too messy, like with a lot of product, and then you've been wearing a hat all day, that makes it a little tough because then it's squished into a spot that the hat has like forced it in rather than its natural position. So we're not too mad. We have shampoo bowls, you know.
True.
We can wash it out if we need to, but
Making
clean
your
hair
job
is
a little,
always better.
a little easier. How long have you been doing hair for? I know where the passion comes from, but how long?
Almost 11 years.
Whoa.
10 of those have been here in Seattle. I got licensed down in Utah and then moved up here because I knew I wanted to do more alternative short haircuts, and this is the city for that.
Yeah. Are there a lot of like specialty haircuts that, you know, your coworkers focus on? I know for you, you see a lot of modern mullets.
Yeah, everybody that works at Hatch has their own specialties, and so we have a good mix of barbers and hairstylists. Everybody has a different focus. One of them's a curl specialist, one of them does a lot of color. Savannah here is like our resident barber who does all the straight razor shaves.
Cool.
And of the 8 of us that work there, 6 of us are independent stylists. So they're renting a space from Hatch, they're running their own business and creating their own space within our space.
What are you looking for here to know like you've taken enough off the top for weight?
That's a great question. I usually run my fingers through it, and if I can see those channels starting to form again in the hair, then there's good enough texture that when they run their hands through it, when somebody leaves my chair, they can have that movement. And then I'm always double checking like forward in a mirror to make sure that that shape has collapsed closer to the head.
So cool. And how do you feel your studio really bridges a gap in the hair industry?
I think because there's not a lot of like blend between the hairstylist and barber world. There's a lot of barbershops, there's a lot of salons, but there's not a lot that are doing both in a gender inclusive way.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of stylists that are doing those things, just not necessarily like full shops that are focused on it.
And what is Hatch doing to really educate and keep growing these independent stylists?
We have a lot of like resources that I have between all of my community and people in my life that have helped me grow my business. So if any of our stylists need different like financial support or business support, we have those people that we can refer them out to. When people join us right out of like school or want to jump right into booth renting and haven't done that before, we have a lot of resources to help create a checklist and make sure that they know that we're here to help them like step by step rather than just throwing them in and hoping that their business survives. Because that's the scariest part about booth renting. You're now in charge of paying your own taxes and getting people in your chair, and it's a big jump.
Definitely. Where can people find you? I want to get that in before we run out of time.
Physically or on social media?
Both.
Oh, physically we are in Columbia City off of Rainier. We're just right by the funeral home that unfortunately just burned down not too long ago. Social media, our Instagram is Hatch Hair & Co. on Instagram and Facebook.
Amazing. Well, thank you for showing me this demo. This was so relaxing. Savannah, I hope you're relaxed and the hair's looking great.